Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and welcome to The Game Concept Art Part 1. I still don't have the official title to share with you guys on my future game, but I do already have quite a lot of script written down about the first few levels, and specifically I worked in greater detail on like the second level, so I would be able to create like a 1-hour demo of the game to start with. So that's what I'm gonna be working with for the next who knows how long, figuring out how to make that game and everything. So today we're starting to work on some of the concept art for this demo level. And specifically it's gonna be a concept art for one of the more of an average human-sized, finite, normal monsters that you may encounter and maybe fight, maybe run away from, like a normal monster. So I was thinking to start with that. Now, this video has a sponsor, Wingfox, and they have this new course called Cinematic Illustration with Photoshop: Improve Your Visual Storytelling. In this course, your tutor, who is a concept artist that is based in Canada, they'll share their approach on creating a complex composition that is focused on storytelling and specifically on the mood and, the context of the situation. It's all about applying all the techniques and little choices in order to really push the whole image towards one goal. And it's a very important thing. A lot of the times I see beginner artists creating images that are trying to be everything at the same time instead of, consciously shooting for the specific goal. And in here, it's really about making sense out of all of these different solutions and methods that you can use as an artist. And yeah, the author specifically says that they specialize in dark and moody, atmospheric and cinematic designs. So yeah, if any of you guys are interested, the course already started coming out, and before it's fully released, it's available for only $39. So you can find this page in the affiliate link in the video description, as well as an extra discount code that's available in there as well. Now back to our monster. Some of you guys recently mentioned that maybe I should create some artwork about war, about what's going on in Ukraine. And I thought about it for a while. I really thought it's sort of like, it is my responsibility as the artist to do that stuff, if not just to spread awareness or anything, even though there's obviously quite a lot of it going on, thankfully, but at least as an artist you provide the tools for the society to process what's going on. But I know, I thought about it for a while. I can't do that now. I guess maybe because I'm just too close to it. I feel like if I would be living just in the far west, just reading that on the news and it would be a shocking news and whatever, then I would sit down and create something. But in my situation, since I'm like halfway in it or something, it just feels like it's too early to do that kind of stuff. It feels weird, it would feel insincere and like just trying to make money out of it, which is like, I really feel like it's not gonna happen. Like maybe later, okay? It's just too early. I'll definitely do something about it, but it's not something I can make a poetic summary about at the moment. It just feels completely messed up to do that. So let's just live on and, give it some time. Something should come to an end first, if that makes sense. So I'd rather just follow my plans, and keep working on the thing I've been working on. I already have this, and it's at least this other thing that should keep on happening despite whatever's going on, because why let it destroy this as well, Let's keep building instead of looking at the ruins. So yeah, most of this script I actually wrote down while I was either on a train from one city to another, or while there was some frequent power outages back in Kiev. Not connected to anything, it's just for some reason we had power outages, which never happened before, but Anyway, when you're sitting there, you know, with a candle and nothing else going on, you just sit down and start writing scripts. It's the best condition to do that. So I got quite a lot of ideas written down and I'm really excited about them because they give like a good skeleton for experimenting and trying to see what happens if you actually pull it off, you know? I feel like I'll be able to do it, but of course it's just forever road ahead of me to do that. So let's go ahead and start walking down that path. I'm gonna read a little part where I just describe what kind of monster it is. So the situation is pretty much the main character, his name is John for now. He got lost in the forest and he saw a barn. Then he entered that barn, then something happens in the barn that needs certain solving. And so John, I'm pretty cryptic because there's a lot of cool stuff in there, just it's not the part of the concept. But anyway, the point is, John is trying to solve the situation, so John looks around inside the barn, then walks outside and encounters the first witness. So this kind of enemy, I'm calling them witnesses. And then there's also another much greater kind that these witnesses are here to witness, sort of. That's the structure of it in a way. And these witnesses are always like weird creatures. They're always representing certain fears or kinds of people. And they will be the kind of monster that is like a possessed person or something that used to be a human being, but it's being used by something else inside of them. So here's the brief description. A resemblance of a person wearing farmer clothes. They're smiling, but the face looks like a mask worn by something else. Non-human eyes are looking at John through the farmer's eyelids. The shirt and the pants fly are open around the abdomen, exposing what looks like someone's back. So it's a bit of a weird mixture, it's almost like a sculpture. The monster attacks with big, strong arms. Most attacks seem like the witness is trying to aggressively hug John. Fear of unwanted intimacy, fear of sick or elderly, fear of deceiving appearances. So that kind of pretty creepy mixture, I feel like it's a good place to start with. There's no guarantee that this particular character will survive till the final version or then anything that I wrote down so far is gonna survive, but I know one thing for a fact. I have what seems to be a decent working script that can actually provide a base for a story in a game and for the actual gameplay in a way. So I should just go ahead and start working on it, because otherwise I'll just be forever trying to find the perfect game or something. Well, I am super excited about the backstory and the world structure and the basic idea of the way the game is, the story develops and the way, you know, the whole atmosphere and situation happens. So there's a lot of great stuff in there, but a lot of like millions of micro questions around the whole situation that still may change. And this is the part where I want to just start and flesh it out already. So let's do that. And yeah, in terms of references, I was thinking, since we need the abdomen exposed by having some kind of open shirt, I really want to go with this kind of outfit and not really go with, you know, the first thing you think about it is this kind of, what is it called? Over something. Not this kind of stuff. I mean, we could also make it work, but I feel like this will be a much more natural design. And I don't know why, I really like the idea of the shirt. Apparently it's called plaid shirt. I had no idea. I thought like, what, grid shirt? But yeah, this kind of design, I really feel like it's gonna fit it really well if we go like specifically and strongly with this plaid pattern on it. So the whole point of that idea of having like someone's back in front in the abdominal area, so it's gonna happen like in here. It's pretty much if we have a human being standing here. And really I can see him standing as a little bit like always spreading his legs a lot because he's not moving very easily with that complex anatomy or whatever, and I would assume his head would be a little bit tilted. Maybe not, maybe the opposite, like a little bit like this. So yeah, maybe like that, like this. Maybe I would slightly exaggerate the size of the arms, so they would have like pretty strong wrists and big arms, but nothing like a caricature, like normal size, but a bit on a bigger. But yeah, like the biggest fun is gonna happen here. I would assume the middle of the pants would be a little bit lowered here. As I'm looking at it right now, interesting, like it's literally gonna be like open pants and the back will be sticking out of it. So it's gonna be pretty like graphic. Yeah, that's why you create concept art, because I had no idea that it will specifically go this way. So this is where the belt would be normally, right? It's a good thing that we, in our reference, we have the suspenders. I'm learning a lot of new words here. Like, I knew the word suspenders, but I never used it myself, so I couldn't remember it. But yeah, it's a good thing we have suspenders, because otherwise the pants would definitely fall down. And yeah, like, what I'm doing right now is like just taking a note of the basic idea. I would probably move the head a bit to the left if it's tilted. And this would be like that. Generally, I drew certain features a bit too slim, especially when I started with the legs, but that I should have thought about it right away before just drawing the figure. It should be the figure of an old working man, you know? The pants should be pretty wide or whatever, and somewhat loose, like big worker kind of pants, right? Also, they're kind of lowered, so they'll probably like have some wrinkles at the bottom here. So the most interesting part is at the bottom here. So we have the t-shirt. It may be probably, yeah, it's like it can be fully buttoned up. Also, I like the way he has the color kind of like bent like that. That means this shirt has been washed multiple times. That's a cool little detail. I should definitely keep that. And so a couple of buttons are gonna be closed, but then it just goes like this. And I really want to keep this as, you know, you look at it, and right now I described it with words so we could work with it, but really for the player, they shouldn't completely understand that like this is the actual back. So it's gonna be like weird and all, but yeah, it sure is gonna be the back. And the point of this message, you know, why the back? It's pretty much because I wanna show this, as I said, like, right, the fear of unwanted intimacy and the fact that he's hugging you a lot. This is like another person hugging him in the abdominal intimate area like that, and this is like a naked back, and we may see like wrinkles of raised shoulders in here. So it's really, it will be very interesting to make it really work as much as I can, so it would really work, like really look like the back. We're gonna have a lot of wrinkles in this area. And yeah, what I really like about this character thing is when I was coming up with a story, a lot of the times, you know, you immediately go for something a lot more conceptual and absolute and weird, like those biblical angels, be not afraid situation where there's multiple eyes and something completely defining your sanity, of looking at something of absolute, you know, that kind of stuff. And in the core of the story, there will be a lot of that kind of completely like angel level madness, but I really wanted to keep the vibe of, you know, something that's closer to Silent Hill in regards of having normal applied characters, like actual monsters that are a part of this environment, even though this is a weird, surreal environment that makes little sense. They're also a part of it. They're also twisted in that regard, but they have the base of that same part. So since this is next to the barn, this is probably the farmer that used to work there before he became the witness. So that's sort of the point of it. And we may even almost like see the butt crack in there, but not really, like, you know, you almost see it, but not really. An actual like, this may be probably a man's back as well. So there will be like certain hair pattern going on that gets more dense at the bottom or something like that. That's something they frequently miss in, you know, computer-generated designs of creatures like that. There's never any hair on a body of anthropomorphic monster like that, even though, you know, humans have quite a lot of that. And that's specifically the kind of thing that may make you really uncomfortable. So that's really cool. Plus, you know, we have the next level Unreal Engine 5 fidelity at our disposal, so we should apply that as well, and I think that stuff can really make things pop. So yeah, I guess this is the basic idea of it. Now, he seems like his legs are really short, but in reality, well, actually his knees should be like here, since his actual pelvis was over here, and this is like this back part. So let's see what we think of him if we look at him from the side. I'll make this basic, you know, design about like the way he is standing, the way his general design goes around, and then also think about the face specifically, and after that maybe create a more of a detailed and polished, like think about actual details about everything about the outfit more specifically. And yeah, right at the bottom of the rib cage, this thing happens, so he's gonna look like kinda pregnant, I guess, at first glance, or something even worse than that. I don't know. I mean, it is worse than that. And yeah, the pants are not just open, they're actually really stretched, because this thing is gonna introduce a lot of new volume. My main goal right now is to make sure that this, you know, sort of far-fetched idea of the design would really look like a solid, complete idea, that the shape really works together as the character. So his arms are probably slightly bent, mostly gonna be kinda like this. I don't know what exactly to do with his hands in here. Again, this is a working man that doesn't do all this gestures, you know? They should be like going straight like this. But maybe introducing a little bit of the, you know, the situation is twisted and madness inducing. Maybe he is suffering. Maybe he will be introducing a little bit of like this kind of movement. That's very important to me, these little details. You know, usually monsters, they have either these positions or, you know, this or something. I want to introduce something emotional and like those little details of humans. When you think about stuff, you do, you know, this, like you press things against each other, and I feel like he would be like bending his thumb like this because he's uncomfortable and weird, like children do that in a weird situation. They feel uncomfortable, they would be doing something like this or, you know, like that, but that's already different. That's more like thinking about something. But this gesture of like pressing your thumb like this is this weird, awkward, not very conscious kind of thing. That's exactly what I want to show here. Not something fancy and flying, but this little like infantile gesture is something that would really work well. It's a strong grown man, but he's barely here in a way, because he's been through forever of something. I'm really like, I never talked like that on the video before, because this is exactly what I don't want to lose. Because I have to verbalize everything, and this kind of stuff is that's not what you usually talk about in a YouTube video, but it's super important. This is like the whole point. This is what's gonna be really interesting about it, is how they're shown in these details. Oh wow, it's a lot more fun to think about it from the side now. What kind of shoes does he have? Some kind of big, like, mountain shoes, right? Something like that, like modern, good, durable kind of footwear. So the back mostly bends at the upper part, and in here it would be a little bit more flat, since initially the back is kind of like this. So when it bends mostly with this part still. But then I wanna imply like there's already neck going on. And like shoulders, and even we may see a little bit of the armpit in here as well, so that'll be pretty cool. Generally in the design of my game so far, I can see there will be a whole lot of armpits and like these weird parts that are like, is it that or is it just nothing? I don't know. That kind of stuff. Like belly buttons too. I had a lot of fun writing that script. So if we think about it that way, then in here it should probably be spread like more. Gotta make sure I show really good stretching from the button, this bottom button right here. It's really all the tension is coming from it. Now I think I want to lean him forward a little bit because he feels a bit too much falling down. So the thing with farmers, they always wear a hat because obviously if you work in the field, you'll be super sunburned if you don't wear a hat. I mean, if you're an Irish farmer, you probably don't need a hat. But nonetheless, I think it makes sense to apply a hat. Something like that, just to hide from the sun. So he's gonna be like an old man. So his ears are gonna be pretty big with the big like bottom thing really hanging down. I'm kind of hating on this arm right now. Not this part, but generally the proportions plus the angle of the elbow is really lame looking. Probably something more like that. Yeah, now let's think about the face a little bit. This part requires a lot of careful detail because it should be that specific uncanny valley where it's sort of like a smiling face, but really there's something completely different behind it. But also I want to somehow solve it to be, you know, noticeable from afar as well. So it needs to be not just that tiny little thing and that's it. It should really look very recognizable, specific, and symbolic from a distance. These things are super important and like it's so easy to not do that and have nothing in the end. This is my biggest problem right now and I need to find that solution. Like this man's features. There's a lot of material to apply to like this average just oldness. Like no offense, this man looks very trustworthy and whatever, but you can really mess it up if you want to. And yeah, the language of the streaks of hair can really show, you know, no matter how nice the smile is. In the recent moments, this character was acting weird, and that's why his hair is all over the place. Right, that's what I'm doing wrong. Old people don't really have lips, they go like inwards like that. I'm thinking like, what's wrong with the lips? Why does it look young, no matter what I do? All of these features, they're actually gone. Maybe a few big moles, you know, that's a thing. Make me sound like I hate old people, but the whole point of it is I try to get it out of you, you know? Now, I like this idea I did with the eyelid sort of lifted up like this, so I'll probably do it on both of them, and that'll be that feature that you notice from afar. Probably, I mean. So yeah, the area that will be like noticeable from afar is that, well, first of all, the eyes, the actual eyes that look at you, they're in like deep shadow, right? So there will be a lot of shadow on them, almost like holes from afar. But the area around the eyes, so this whole area, right? It will be the opposite, like really bright. You would expect to have certain folds, right? The skull goes inwards around the eye. But it will be very bright in here. It will be pushed outwards a little bit because of, you know, these weird eyes. They're actually holding the eyelids open, so it's like pushing the flesh out. So this inverted contrast, it will be like very bright everywhere, and then just dark holes of eyes. I think that area will be really visible from afar. So if we look at the way it would be perceived in here, so yeah, probably like this if you think about it. So this plane will be all facing up, while this plane will be all facing down, because if we look at it from the side, like an eyebrow going over there, then we stretch out and stretch out again. So in a way, that's the way that eyeball will be looking like. So let's actually apply this idea in here as well, because this definitely looks a bit different. It looks like just an old man's face. Well, really we need to think on the physics of this alteration we introduce. Yeah, something like that. It's really weird that this area is so light in here. It's gonna have this special appearance, like the actual face is gonna be changed. It's obvious from the distance. And it's important to define that this is gonna be this feature that will be noticeable from afar. I'm not sure though, this detail like this, it's about precise shading on the model, like in a tiny detail. Eyes are pretty small in terms of generally, you know, the scale. Will Unreal Engine be able to actually show it? Or should I probably sort of hard paint it, the shading like that? So that will be like, I'm pretty confident I'll be able to pull it off one way or another. So yeah, I'm not sure about the shape of the pupils here. These are kind of like goat pupils? Goat pupils are actually just horizontal rectangles. And in my case, it's like dual a little bit. I kind of like it. I guess if it's not actually goat's shape, I may keep it like this. Wait, isn't this the Hypnotoad's shape, right? Not really, no. They swim all over the place. They don't really, well, in here there's this kind of shape, but of course they're constantly moving on the Hypnotoad. I mean, we can keep it this way for now, because I need a more or less like definitely not human, but generally simple, not thought too much on kind of shape. Oh yeah, look at that from the distance. It looks really messed up with like bigger scale shading. Looking pretty good. Alright, now I wanna spend a little time and really like position this guy in a bit of a more polished way, really looking at this and, you know, thinking through what I'm really going for, if it would be maybe a final version of it. Oh, good stuff in here. Alright, I think this captures the character pretty well. I don't think I should waste time on actually like rendering it in full color. But maybe like main surface colors would make sense. Any further detail should be concepted, you know, in a 3D sculpt probably. So that should be the next episode of this, I guess. So far, feeling pretty cool about the guy. I can see what to pay attention to, you know, the wrinkles on the clothing, the anatomy of the back. I didn't see it, but in the end, with some references and you know, making sure I think about the way the shape goes, even in this super strong, just black and white shading. I think it kind of worked out. From the distance, it's kind of like a back and actually raised shoulders and everything. Not super recognizable, but again, we don't really need that. So yeah, I guess this is it. This is our witness number 1. So there's probably gonna be like at least 3 of them of different kinds, but this is the first design that I really thought through so far. Tell me guys what you think. Maybe you have an idea on some kind of special detail that this character could really use or something, or maybe different other varieties of the same kind of monster, you know? They will all be in the farmer/forest setting, so, you know, any kind of villager look that implies all this kind of unwanted intimacy, old, not nice, not pretty, not fancy people being close, and that kind of fear that makes you even feel bad for having it. That's an important part of it as well, a little bit. I want to specifically like dive right into it. Fully like do a full research on it. That's literally the point. It's not that I'm hating on old people or anything, of course, in case anyone thought of that. So yeah, for now this is it. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! This guy can be a little bit sweaty in the unknown man's back area. That would be a cool touch.